Hey church, Pastor Mark here, and I hope you're having an incredible day. You're watching The Daily, where I take 3 minutes to connect with you and encourage you in your faith. It's all a part of our goal to be a Christ-centered community driven by the joy of the gospel to make disciples who make disciples. We spend time every day memorizing scripture, and so today we want to look at that, and we're actually going to spend all of our time today looking at Matthew 5:39, because as we memorize scripture, I also want to push you into meditating on that scripture as well. Let's look at the verse and then we'll come back to the idea of meditating on scripture. The verse, Matthew 5:39, says this: "But I say to you, do not resist the one that is evil. But if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also." We get with scripture memory, one of the helpful ways to do that is chunking. We talked about that yesterday. We've talked about that the last couple of weeks, is that if you take it phrase by phrase, it's easier to put the whole thing together and memorize it. Well, one of the great benefits of chunking and just memory in general is that it forces us into revisiting small chunks of scripture over and over and over again. One of the best ways to memorize is just repetition, coming back and repeating the phrases and the verse over and over. Like the first phrase of this: "But I say to you, do not resist the one that is evil. But I say to you, do not resist the one that is evil." The more we say it, the more natural that flow and phrasing feels to us. So we commit it to memory by just repetition. But I don't want you to waste your repetition. I don't want to waste my repetition as I'm memorizing scripture. And here we get a chance to really meditate on the scripture. One other helpful way to memorize is that we remember the meaning of what we're memorizing. And so we like to meditate on the scripture we're memorizing. The world sometimes defines meditation as emptying your mind, but biblical meditation is really filling your mind. It's putting biblical things, the things of God, into your mind and letting your mind just saturate with biblical stuff. And so here, let's look at this. Let's meditate on this scripture together. Like, what does it mean to fill your mind with this scripture? Well, let's just take that first phrase again. "But I say to you, do not resist the one that is evil." All right, well, we're getting a couple things just in here that we can ask questions about, that we can consider. Jesus is saying, "But I say to you." So what is he saying? Why is he saying this? Well, the transition, but, we understand something must have come before this. "But I say to you, do not resist the one that is evil." Before this, what had been said to the people was eye for eye, tooth for tooth. And Jesus is saying, I'm saying to you something different, but I say to you. So why did Jesus feel the need to change from tooth for tooth, eye for eye, into do not resist the one that is evil? Why did Jesus feel that need? Thinking on this question is meditation. Why does Jesus do this? Why is it better for us to not resist the one that is evil than it is for us to resist the one that is evil? Why is God giving us that instruction? What does it teach us about God that he might give us that instruction? My mind goes straight to the gospel. When we hear don't resist the one that is evil, man, I am evil. I'm evil. My sin nature, my flesh is naturally evil, and born into rebellion and sin. And Jesus, instead of resisting us, served us. He came to serve us and be generous and kind to us. And so by looking even at that first phrase, we start thinking about God's kindness and God's generosity and his call for us to follow him in those ways. And then if we keep looking, if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. What is God teaching us through that? All right, I'm going to let you go. I love you. Memorize this, meditate on it, and I'll see you again tomorrow.